On a quiet afternoon in Kansas, a small spacecraft pierces through the sky, crashing violently onto the Kent family farm. The explosion of dirt and fire lights up the fields as Jonathan and Martha Kent rush toward the smoking crater. Their cautious steps quicken when they hear the sound of a baby crying from inside the wreckage. Gently, they pry open the metallic pod, its surface still radiating heat from its journey across the stars. Inside, nestled in a protective cocoon of alien technology, lies a baby boy. His small hands reach out toward them, and despite their confusion, the Kents feel an immediate connection to the child. But before they can lift him from the pod, a sudden surge of electricity courses through their bodies. Their screams are short-lived as their bodies convulse and fall lifelessly to the ground. Behind them stands a man, his hands still crackling with power. A woman steps forward, her gaze locked on the baby. Without hesitation, she takes the child, cradling him in her arms. The man, ensuring there are no loose ends, unleashes another deadly blast, making sure the Kents are truly dead before vanishing into the sky. Years later, in the heart of Gotham City, another tragedy unfolds. A family of 3 walks through the quiet streets after a night at the movies. Thomas and Martha Wayne, along with their young son Bruce, step into the dimly lit passage known as Crime Alley. The evening's joy is shattered when a figure emerges from the darkness. A mugger, a desperate man named Joe Chill, brandishing a gun. He demands their money, but before Thomas can act, the gun fires. A deafening shot echoes through the alley as Thomas collapses, blood staining the pavement. Martha's scream is cut short by a second shot, her pearls scattering like fallen stars on the wet concrete. Joe Chill raises the gun once more, intending to leave no witnesses. But something unnatural happens. The bullet, mid-flight, suddenly changes direction. Instead of striking the boy, it reverses course, racing straight back toward Chill. The mugger barely has time to react before the very bullet he fired pierces his chest, killing him instantly. From the shadows, a figure steps forward, the true architect of this moment. A man, unseen by history until now, had manipulated the bullet's trajectory with nothing but his will. He stands beside the stunned Bruce and offers him a new path, a fate different from the one he was meant to walk. Without hesitation, the boy takes his hand and disappears into the night. These same mysterious figures, Cosmic King, Saturn Queen, and Lightning Lord, would go on to rewrite the course of history, erasing future heroes before they could ever rise. They would intervene time and again, ensuring that those destined to become beacons of hope never reached their full potential. Years later in Metropolis, life moves forward. Lois Lane awakens to the soft morning light filtering through her apartment. She rises, stretching, and walks into the bathroom where Clark Kent is already awake, shaving. He greets her with a warm smile, and she leans into his embrace, savoring the quiet moment. In Gotham, the scene is similar yet vastly different. Inside the towering heights of Wayne Tower, Bruce Wayne finishes dressing, fastening his tie with a practiced motion. Beside him, Selina Kyle moves gracefully, slipping into her own attire after what was clearly a night spent together. They share a brief but intimate farewell, a lingering kiss, before she departs. Alone, Bruce lights a cigarette, exhaling as he gazes out at the massive monument erected in honor of Superman and Batman, 2 figures once seen as Earth's greatest protectors. Soon after, Clark arrives and the 2 men engage in a conversation, one laden with unspoken tensions and shared history. Below them, the city is in turmoil, its people herded like cattle under the ever-watchful eye of their rulers. Meanwhile, in a darkened alley, a young man finds himself surrounded by armed soldiers, their weapons raised. Before they can act, an arrow whistles through the air, striking one of them dead on target. From the shadows emerges Green Arrow, his bow at the ready. He wastes no time, swiftly taking down the remaining men with precision. The young man, shaken but alive, gestures upward. "Look to the sky," he says. Green Arrow sighs. "I hate when people say that," he mutters. But when he does glance up, his expression hardens. Superman and Batman descend upon him, their eyes locked onto him like predators stalking prey. Arrow doesn't hesitate. He fires an arrow directly at Superman. The Man of Steel catches it effortlessly, shaking his head at what seems like a foolish attempt. "Stupid," Superman remarks. Then the arrow explodes in a burst of kryptonite radiation. Superman stumbles, his strength momentarily faltering. Green Arrow smirks. "Not so stupid, really." Before he can capitalize on his advantage, Batman lunges, enraged at the attack on Superman. The 2 exchange brutal blows. Green Arrow strikes first, landing a hit that sends Batman crashing into a row of garbage cans. But the Dark Knight recovers instantly, unleashing a flurry of punches and kicks, each one more vicious than the last. Arrow barely has time to react before Batman buries a knee into his gut, doubling him over. In desperation, Green Arrow stabs him in the arm with an arrow tip, only for Batman to retaliate with a devastating kick to the face, sending him sprawling. Before he can rise, a beam of searing heat vision cuts through the alley. Superman watches without remorse as Green Arrow is disintegrated where he stands. His voice is cold, absolute, "You either obey, or you die." Later that day, Batman and Superman teleport to the JLA Watchtower, their destination already known. Waiting for them, as they have always been, are their parents, the very beings who intervened in their lives so many years ago. Today is Superman's birthday, and the room is decorated accordingly. Candles are lit on a cake, an eerie mockery of the life he could have had. But far from this cold celebration on Earth, a rebellion stirs. As night falls, a woman is caught in the streets after curfew. Soldiers open fire without hesitation, but the bullets never reach her. With a flick of her wrist, the woman deflects every shot using the golden bracelets upon her arms, the bullets ricocheting back at their origin. She moves swiftly, disappearing into the underground tunnels of the subway, where she finds a ragged man, homeless and forgotten. She stands beside him, her voice unwavering. "The world needs you." He shakes his head, trying to pull away, but before he can flee, she wraps him in a golden lasso. In an instant, the air crackles with power, and in a brilliant flash of light, the man transforms, his presence now larger than life. He looks at her, recognition dawning in his eyes. "You're right," he says solemnly. "The world does need me." He pauses, then asks, "What's your name?" She stands tall. "Diana." He nods. "Then we have a long fight ahead of us." And with that, Wonder Woman and Uncle Sam step into the darkness, ready to begin their battle against the tyranny of Superman and Batman. Diana and Uncle Sam continued their journey to restore order to a world that had long since fallen into chaos. Their path led them to the wreckage of an old spacecraft, its hull battered by time and the elements. Inside, they discovered the lifeless body of Avenges, the Green Lantern who had once patrolled this sector of space. In this altered timeline, Hal Jordan had been killed years ago, never finding his destiny as a Green Lantern. Avenges' ring, never claimed, remained dormant, waiting for a new bearer. Recognizing the opportunity before them, Uncle Sam took the ring and placed it on his finger. Almost instantly, the ring responded, its power surging through him. Using the lantern battery within the ship, he charged it and found himself wielding a power unlike anything he had known before. With this new strength, he and Diana set out to gather more allies for their cause. Their first recruit was Phantom Lady, who had disappeared from the public eye and was now working as a stripper in a dimly lit nightclub. Convincing her to join them required little effort. She had long since grown disillusioned with the state of the world and was eager for a chance to fight for something meaningful again. Next, they sought out the Ray, who had abandoned his heroic past and now toiled away as a coal miner, buried in the shadows both literally and figuratively. With some persuasion, he too agreed to stand with them. One by one, they found others willing to fight. Doll Man, small in stature but fearless, and the Human Bomb, whose very body contained destruction waiting to be unleashed. With their team assembled, they set their sights on their ultimate goal: finding Superman and Batman. Meanwhile, high above Earth in the Watchtower, the trio of Saturn Queen, Lightning Lord, and Cosmic King watched the unfolding events with growing concern. They had tampered with time itself, rewriting history to reshape the destinies of Superman and Batman. But the consequences of their meddling were beginning to spiral out of control. While Cosmic King remained indifferent, Lightning Lord's unease grew. He turned to Saturn Queen and urged her to summon the rest of their forces. Whatever was coming, he wanted everyone prepared. Elsewhere, Superman and Batman continued their hunt for Deadman, tracking him to the mystical sanctuary of Nanda Parbat. Their pursuit reached its climax when Deadman suddenly took possession of Superman's body, forcing him to unleash a blast of heat vision at Batman. With split-second reflexes, Batman barely dodged the attack and retaliated with a flashbang grenade, momentarily disorienting Deadman. Superman fought against the possession, his will clashing with the ghost's influence. Batman used the opportunity to cast a reversal spell, forcing Deadman out of Superman's body. He quickly tossed a magical amulet, capturing the spirit and sealing it within a gemstone. As Batman helped Superman recover from the ordeal, a blinding light engulfed them both. They were being recalled to the Watchtower. Back on Earth, the newly reformed freedom fighters, led by Wonder Woman, launched an assault on Liberty Island. Standing in their way was the legion of superheroes, determined to hold their ground. The battle erupted into an all-out war, shaking the island to its foundation. At the peak of the chaos, Superman and Batman materialized in the heart of the conflict. It was their last chance to stop the resistance. The Ray, filled with determination, charged at them. But Batman, ever the tactician, swiftly took him down with a single, precise gunshot to the head. The human bomb unleashed his devastating power, tearing through the battlefield, while Wonder Woman engaged Batman in direct combat. Superman attempted to intervene, but Uncle Sam, now wielding the Green Lantern ring, summoned a massive eagle construct to hold him back. Batman fought with everything he had, using every trick and weapon at his disposal. But against Wonder Woman's Amazonian strength, he was outmatched. With a final, merciless strike, she drove her sword through his body, ending his life. Superman, witnessing the death of his closest ally, shattered the eagle construct in a fit of rage. Knocking Uncle Sam aside with a single blow, he gathered Batman's lifeless body and vanished in a flash of light, transported once more to the Watchtower by the legion of supervillains. Lightning Lord stood before him, eyes gleaming with dark anticipation. "Take your revenge," he urged. And with those words, something inside Superman snapped. Returning to Liberty Island in a blind fury, he unleashed his wrath upon Wonder Woman. Blow after blow, he pummeled her, driving her into the ground. Diana, bloodied and weak, tried to reach him with words, pleading for him to remember who he once was, a hero. But her words fell on deaf ears. Gripping her golden lasso, Superman wrapped it around her neck and pulled, tightening the cord until her struggling ceased. Meanwhile, Phantom Lady and Doll Man infiltrated an underground chamber beneath Liberty Island, where a hidden time machine lay dormant, just as Diana had foreseen. Before they could activate it, Superman arrived. With a single breath, he froze them solid. Without hesitation, he shattered their frozen bodies into countless fragments. Human Bomb, enraged by the slaughter of his teammates, launched himself at Superman, detonating his explosive energy in one final act of defiance. But Superman's heat vision cut through him before he could strike. The detonation, however, was inevitable. The explosion consumed New York City, wiping out everything in its path. And then, nothing. In another reality, in another time, a different Superman stood before Metron, frustration evident on his face. "We screwed up the timeline again," he muttered. Metron, ever the observer, simply nodded. "Unless the damage is repaired from the point of impact, all of existence will unravel." Superman exhaled sharply, already knowing what needed to be done. "Then I guess it's time to go back and fix it, again." That's it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. I see you in the next video.